Hi there, thanks for joining me. Today I'm working on this 10 by 12 canvas board again. This is one of my favourites, as you probably know by now. This has actually had a previous layer underneath, but I've actually gone over with some white titanium paint just to get rid of it. We're going to work with just three colours today. I've got a lovely dark ultramarine blue, cadmium yellow deep hue and cadmium yellow hue. And what I want to show you is how you can mix a lovely variety of shades just with these three colours. Now, most of you, I'm sure, will know that if you mix blue and yellow, you will get green. But you can get different shades of green. And the beauty of doing this sort of preparation is that you know that all the colours you use on this are going to be in harmony. They're not going to clash with each other. So first of all, I'm just mixing this ultramarine with the darker of the cadmium yellows, and this makes a fantastic mossy sort of deep leaf green. Depending on how much you add, you get different sort of depths to it. You see how lovely and dark that is. So that's one of our dark colours, and I've done exactly the same with the blue and the pale cadmium yellow. Let's have a look what that does. Lovely mid sort of sage green. Really nice colours, very natural, and quite often more natural than you will get direct from a tube. And when we put the ultramarine neat next to it, we know it's going to blend. We've got some of the dark cadmium yellow. Again, it goes in beautifully. Just wipe the knife there. And the pale, the lighter yellow, will go in beautifully together. So those three colours are going to be the main part of this painting. Okay, so we've done our little test and we're happy with that. I'm going to put another layer of white on here and then start working just with the ultramarine, just to blend it in and give us a sense of some sort of background. So I'm just brushing it on very liberally, no direction really, and then I'm going straight in with that mix of the dark green. So the darker of the cadmium yellows with the ultramarine blue. And I'm using the longer and sort of slimmer of my palette knives here just to apply. I want lots and lots of texture. The first layer of ultramarine and white has dried, so we can take this paint across it without moving it or mixing these colours in. So adding that bit of yellow underneath, lovely, lovely rich colour. And again, I'm just pulling it into different directions. This is an abstract, so I'm not governed by working to a plan. I'm just seeing what happens. This is the beauty of being able to work this way. A little bit of titanium white there, and I'm just adding colour here, a little bit more of that dark yellow. I know that everything is going to go together. It's very easy to work this way, adding a little bit of white there. What we want is a contrast of colours, of light spaces, of depth and of light, and we want to get those contrasts built in. So take a little bit of white up from that line of yellow and pulling it across. Okay, now here we have a problem. I played a little bit more, and what I'm now thinking is I'm getting a landscape. I don't want a landscape, I want an abstract. So much as it pains me, I'm actually going to get rid of some of what I've already done because I don't want trees, I don't want the sense of woods or anything like that. So I'm going to go over that area with titanium white and a little bit of blue. That's going to blend it back to that original background colour that we had. If I was doing a landscape, I would have been very happy with that, but that's not what I'm doing here. The intention of what you want to do is as important as how you do it. So if it's not working to what you intended, either start again or change it. Okay, so we're adding a little bit more green, yellow, the blue. Oh, that's handy. I've got blue on one side of the brush and yellow on the other. So I've actually got two colours with one brush sweep. And we're going to make that into a little bit of a height there. So I've added a little bit of white there just to soften it. I'm going to pull it across again. I'm not going to a plan. You can see I've spread that quite well. And now just some of that yellow. And blending it with that titanium white. You can use zinc white or mixing white, which doesn't give you quite as much intensity. It's a much softer white. But I do like the titanium to work with for bases. And we can see how we can pull that across. And using the very edge of the knife with that dark green there just to give that little bit of a depth beneath that horizontal bar, and pulling it up as well. It's all going in to add creativity of depth and texture. And using different parts of your knife enables you to do different marks, make different lines. Nice, that little bit of dark again in there. Pull that blue across. We know it's going to match, it's going to work. And I'm taking that down and pulling it across. Again, adding more texture. Keep adding little bits. Remember, the beauty with acrylics is that if you make a little bit of an area you're not keen on, let it go dry, and you can go over the top with either the same colour in a different way or an entirely different colour. And just grazing a lot of the areas with colour here, just pulling it across, so that not that it's covering everything, it's leaving a grazing effect. There we go, adding a little bit of the lighter yellow straight into that white, makes a lovely lemony yellow there. There's some amazing shades that just occur naturally when you start working this way. When you're mixing the colour straight onto the canvas with your knife, you just have so much scope to play with. I'm just going to soften that little bit again. It's got a bit heavy there, so I want to take that down a little bit and soften that. And that's nicely softened, so I'm going to add a little bit more titanium white across there and just blend that across a little bit and upwards. I'm actually going to leave that top left hand area. I quite like that sort of openness there. It almost looks like ruins of sort of old buildings at the moment. Nice bit of that darker cadmium yellow. Really makes it pop, especially next to the dark blue. Just continuing to blend wherever it feels that I want to push it. I've taken it quite a way across here. I'm going to add some white and just mix that gently. That's got the dark yellow underneath, and now the mix of the white and the cadmium light. Let's pull that down a little bit just with a soft flat brush and sweep it across so that it blends. While it's wet, it'll blend beautifully. And we're going to balance that dark green on the left with that on the right, and it gives us a little bit more height as well, just grazing that colour out. Add a little bit of that lovely dark blue to the base, and you see how the grazing is working over the layers of paint we've already got. It really does make a brilliant sort of texture to it without adding any texture paste. Adding in different colours, the yellows. I like to balance my colours. If I've got them on one side of the painting, I like to take them across to the other side and give them the sense of balance and connectivity. Again, grazing across with that blue. Fabulous textured area there. Take it up a little bit now. We can start working on some height. There we go. And a little bit of white next to that blue makes it stand out. And we can work in that top right hand corner. I want to balance that with the bottom left hand corner so that we've got a nice harmony on the painting. We haven't got a heaviness on one side of the picture which leaves the other side looking unbalanced and ungrounded. And just blending all those lovely colours together. And that lovely ultramarine blue there, and pull that across. So we've got a nice dark area at that top, and just mixing those lovely yellows and pulling those across. Not very much brushwork in this picture. A lot of it is done with the palette knives. It's quite freeing, quite liberating, not too much fussy detail. Okay, so I'm really quite pleased with this. It's pleasant to look at. I like the colours, but I want to add a little bit more warmth. Some of these areas just need a little bit of something. So I'm going to actually turn to one of my favourite acrylic inks, And those of you who've seen my other videos will know I have a bit of a love for this. And this is the Burnt Sienna Liquitex acrylic ink. And I'm going to put it in a few areas and we'll see what happens. So I'm just wetting this first of all, just with clean water. Just using that soft flat brush and dropping some water into these two areas where I want to add the ink. We want it to be fluid and we want it to move. Okay, so I'm going to drop it in straight from the bottle with the dropper. And I'm using a sort of pen-sized water spray. I don't want it going too far. So the pen-sized ones allow me a little bit more control over it. Okay, so we're just spraying that around. And obviously to help it move around a bit, we're going to use the tilting and just getting it into different areas. You can add some more spray as you go. Just get it to where you want it to go on the canvas. It's certainly warming it up. I'm pleased with this effect. It's actually covering some of the paint that we've already got down, but you can still see through it. This particular ink is very transparent, and that's what I love about it. You can see other colours through it. And to take out any edges that you're not keen on, just use your damp brush and just lift bits out, move them around. You can spread it around. I'm just going to pull that down actually. It's so nice and warm. I'm going to pull it down next to that blue and just spread it across a little bit. But it's so easy to remove it as well as add it. And we're going to wet that top corner as well. And I'm going to do exactly the same. Just drop it in there. Get a nice amount. We'll add a little bit more down here for the bit more depth. Because we've spread it around, it's lost a little pigment. So we can just increase that. And now I'm just going to go in with a piece of kitchen towel and I'm dabbing into the areas that I want to lighten a little bit. I know I want the colour, but I want to move that around. And I'm actually dabbing with the ink. So what I'm removing, I'm actually then spreading across. A little bit too far down there, so I'll just take that out with the cleaner area. Because it's wet, it's easy to remove. And that's looking so much better. It's so much warmer. There we go, just dabbing. You see the texture that it's actually forming. So I'm just going to let that dry now and then finish it off. And here we are. I've added a little bit more here and there, just a few little grazed areas, a little bit of white over the top of the ink that we put on just to soften it, a few little areas, lines of white, lines of darker colour, and I'm really happy with this now. I really hope this inspires you to have a go, and I will look forward to seeing you for another project very soon. Please don't forget, if you've enjoyed this, to like and subscribe for more. Look forward to seeing you soon. Keep painting. Bye for now.